It's the final part of the Lokar Car Show's Run of Tennessee. We're at Shades of the Past in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, presented by ARP to finish off the season. This Mustang is a chapter of a long-time love affair.
1969, I bought a brand new one. That's when it started. I owned 4 altogether.
Okay.
This is the 4th one. I'm still trying to find the perfect one, and this is it. The body was in Kissimmee, Florida, and the rest of the parts we just bought them from different suppliers. It was just the body and primer. And the guy sold us the rotisserie with the body. We took the whole thing and loaded it.
How did this project get started?
Knowing Clint from meeting him at some of the car shows, I knew he had good cars. And he told me the story, what he wanted to do in the cars he'd had. And naturally having several street rods of my own and building for other people over the years, I told him, it wouldn't be a problem. So I went with him down to Kissimmee to pick the car up, and we came back and got a battle plan together and started building. The main thing is you have to find out whether it's yours or if it's the customers, exactly what they're expecting and what they're planning on doing with the car. They're going to drive it a total show, and you got to piece it together whether or not if it's something that's feasible. You can't take a full-blown race engine and put it on the street and be reliable. So that's what we had to figure out what we wanted to do. And the engine that we used was made by John Cossey. He's known to have taken the original Boss 429 and redesigned it and made it where it's reliable. And that's what we want. We wanted the wow factor, we wanted horsepower. And this is the ultimate muscle car that you can get from Ford back in 69 and 70.
A life-threatening operation brought this coupe to its current owner.
I grew up working at a local racetrack in Manchester, Kentucky that my family owned, and there was a guy running a blue 41 Willys every weekend with us. And as a young person, I fell in love with a 41 Willys going down that racetrack. I said, if I ever get the money, I'm going to buy me a 41 Willys. And 5 years ago, I had open heart surgery and ran into a little girl that knew about this car. I met her at the checkup for a doctor's appointment. Her dad had open heart surgery, and she told me about this car and showed me a picture of it, and I went the next week and bought it. It was built in Jackson County, and next county below where I live in Clay County, and the car was built from scratch in Jackson County. The frame's welded together. It's a total ground-up build. And we've had a ball with the car.
Who did that paint job?
The boy that built the car done the paint job. And he's just an old country boy, but it took him a long time to get it the way he wanted it, but he finally got it. And it's DuPont paint, DuPont clear coat. It just took him a long time to get the flames the way he wanted them, but he finally got them.
What are the chances of finding a Plymouth like that?
Odds of finding a 1951 Plymouth here, probably 0 to none. Most people don't ever chop up Plymouths. Typical your Mercurys, your Chevys, stuff like that. So what I get asked the most is, what is it? And I tell them it's a Plymouth, and most people are pretty surprised. Well, the idea behind it was to go blacked out. I wanted something sinister looking, something that when you're rolling down the road, it had a general appearance of, instead of just being your traditional old hot rod, something that was something new and different. I started with the 1951 Plymouth Cranbrook. We chopped the top on it. It's got a 6-inch chop. The front grille, instead of your typical 3 teeth, we have 9 teeth. Molded in the skirts, molded in our skirts on it. Shaved everything off of it, put everything on remote doors, remote trunk. Molded in the visor on it, and basically just went for that low chop look, the traditional chop look. So 9 months it took me to find 6 teeth. Everybody had them, but they were all stuck to a car, and unfortunately it was buy the whole car or get no teeth. So it took about 9 months every night, 3 or 4 hours on the internet, tracking down somebody who might have extra teeth. We were able to get the grill finished. But that was probably the hardest part of the car, other than Pat Kogelman, my best friend in the world, spending 9 months sanding it to get a laser straight.
Coming up, national pride from a different nation. This Lokar Car Show is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology, and by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. And by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. And by Lokar Performance Products, quality, plain and simple. Welcome back to Shades of the Past, where even rat rods got their turn in the spotlight. We found this down under treasure next to a hopping rat rod.
Well, I was originally born in Australia, and even though my father was American, but I come over here about 12 years ago. But as I say, my father's first car was a 1938 Ford, and so this is like the same car, the same type of car that I drove around the first 10 years of my life, so it's a nostalgic thing, you know. When I went to get the paint job done, I wanted to have the American flag and the Australian flag, but they couldn't work it in, you know, so because I'm sort of half American, half Australian. There had to be an artist actually did all the flag and everything on it, yeah. Now, I've added the kangaroos since, because everybody thought it was British.
So what's inside?
2008 Mustang sort of stuff all through it, so it's got a 4.6 litre V8 in it, and it's 32 valve. So it's all modern, so it's all computerised, and you know, the transmission's all computerised. It's like a modern 38.
This Chevy was more than its owner bargained for.
When I first bought the car, we was just going to build a simple driver car and got real involved, and it just kind of escalated from there. We got Art Morrison chassis under it, LS1 engine. A lot of trial and error. I did a lot of work and didn't like it and redone it. We did everything but the paint and the body work and the interior. This is my first build. We went with the billet specialty, black center wheels, just to be a little different. Did a lot of custom work under the hood. It's LS1 engine. We fabricated a lot of metal. I got an engine cover on there to kind of cover the engine up. Well, I thought it was a pretty good car till we stripped it, and you know, we ended up using the roof of the car. Everything else is new. So.
This is Scott's first build and first show. What's it like being on the circuit?
Well, it was kind of overwhelming for me. I couldn't believe the amount of positive response we got today. Made me really proud. We've been wanting to find something that was a little different. That was a hard choice. We went for years trying to pick out a color that would stand out.
This is an old-time Ford taken on by the younger generation.
My dad and grandpa have always been in these old cars. I got a little Model A, I've had a couple, you know, just playing around with, and really just growing up around, you know. Dad's had a car forever. I've been coming to these car shows since I was little bitty, you know. So this thing actually was my grandpa owned a body shop back where we're from, and he'd done some trading around and got this body. It was actually an old dirt track body. The doors were welded up and it wasn't much of a car. And when he died, my dad got it and made a yard ornament out of it, and got to looking around all these swap meets, right? And you see all these bodies that bring in all this money. I've got got something to start with. It's free, steel car. So back in 2008, I just started working on it. You know, cut 3 inches out of the top, had to cut the doors back open. These early Chevrolets were wood braced, so I had to reinforce the whole thing with steel tubing. I'm actually an engineer, and back when I was in school, I drew this frame out in AutoCAD and went and got some metal and started cutting and welding. And it just went from there. I started this thing in 2008, and when I would come home from school and get some money and time, I just worked on it when I could, and got it done this past May. I tried to fabricate and make as much as I could on this car, and just go around swap meets and find deals, you know. And shoot, there's hundreds of hours in this car.
This Studebaker was a labor of lost love.
My wife had cancer, and the boys worked on it while I was taking care of her. So that's the old gal I got right here. This car was bought in Middletown, Ohio, and a guy in Laurel, Indiana bought it. He sold it to a boy in Cartersville. It was a car that everybody wanted, but they didn't want to build it. So I traded a paint job on a GTO for Studebaker. And we acquired a 35 Ford also for painting the GTO. The woman said, well, you might as well have both of them because he's not going to do nothing with either one of them. So she gave us the 35 and the Studebaker. And she was very happy with the paint job, and we was very happy with what we got. So.
Coming up, what's that doing at a car show? We're back at Pigeon Forge for Shades of the Past, where it's cars as far as the eye can see. That's an odd sight to see. How big is it?
About 22 feet long, almost 9,000 pounds. Yeah, I tore it all. We went to Walden, Colorado and picked it up. My dad got it and brought it back, tore it down, put it on a P30 GM chassis. The original chassis was scrapped on it, but it's 2.5 years of work. You can't find parts. You make everything. Motor mounts, a lot of the seals for it, window seals, door seals, floor pans, stuff like that. I just updated to a P30 GM chassis with 4-wheel disc brakes, went with 5.9 Cummins and the 5-speed transmission.
What does the family think of that big rig?
I love it. Every time he takes it out, I want to go. We try to get it off as often as we can, but we took it to Ohio and Carlisle. It was really fun. He's picked me up a few times at school, and we go we just roam around our hometown. Everybody stops and stares, and it's really loud, so the people at the front desk at school just stare. When I get old enough, I want to drive it, but I have to learn how to drive a stick first, so it's going to be complicated.
This Ford belongs in a chapter of Appalachian history.
It's a 1932 Ford, 2-door sedan, been chopped, channeled, and sectioned. I love the 32 Fords. I found it in a garage. The guy had started it, let it sit for 15 years. I had a friend of mine completely restore it. I rescued the car, been in the garage 15 years. It's been chopped 5 inches on the windshield. It's been sectioned 4 inches, and it's been channeled 3 inches. Been a foot taken out of it. Original one comes to here, this one comes to right here.
That's a strange stance. What made him choose that?
This is the way they did them in the late 50s and early 60s. So I wanted that look. Looks like it's going 40 miles an hour sitting in the parking lot. It's got what they call a ZZ4 crate engine from Chevrolet. Comes with 355 horse out of the box. It's got a blower on it, gives you a little over 100 horsepower because it's got close to 500 horsepower.
There's been a lot of changes made. How was that Ford when it was first found?
The guy had started, I got a picture of it. He found it in the field, he got it out. He chopped it actually to start with, and it was all steel body. Henry Ford built it the first time. I like to drive it. I put 8,000 miles on it the first year I had it. I've got 24,000 in it now. I've had it done 3 years, and it's just a fun car. I get a lot of compliments because of the way the stance it's got on it. You know, not many people do a sedan like that.
The love for this roadster started young.
Got the bug when I was a little kid. A guy down the street, he had one, and ever since I was 10, I wanted one. He had a 32.5 window, and I just always wanted one. We had a 32.5 window built. We've had it for 3 or 4 years, 5 years. So we decided to go to California, and we wanted a roadster, and so we had Johnson's Hot Rod Shop build us a roadster. You got to have an idea when you start, and you kind of tell them your ideas, and then they'll give you ideas, and everybody incorporates, all of their ideas, and come up with, what you want. On the front, it's ET wheels. They're Drag Masters, and then on the front, it's traditional I-beam, suspension, and then, going through. On the back, which this is a fenderless car, and on the back it's got ET wheels also with a 9-inch Ford rear end. It's a blast to drive. It's fun to drive, especially when you take the top off. You get the top off of it, it's really fun to drive.
Coming up, would you believe that's not a Ford? This Lokar Car Show has been brought to you by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. And by Brothers Truck, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration. And by Original Parts Group, the world's largest source for GMA body parts and accessories. And by Lokar Performance Products, quality plain and simple. Welcome back to Shades of the Past from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where the gearheads start young.
It's a 1932 Chevrolet Vicky. It is the offset for the 32 Ford Vicky. Chevrolet come out with a Vicky in 1931. They built it in 31 and 32 only. It's all steel car. I found it on the internet on eBay. It was in Pixco, Ohio. And I bought it off of the guy, and we brought it home and started tearing it apart. I don't have it with me, but in fact, I have the window sticker to this car when it was new. An option for that year was a fold-down sun visor. Most people walks up to this car, they won't know whose kid it is. And so we just went ahead and took a picture of it to lay out here so that they know it is a steel car and not a kit car. Nothing wrong with the kits, but it's not a kit car, it's a real car. It's got over 200 modifications on it. It's got a breather right here that was built for it. It runs in and it actually does the induction to the motor. It pulls it in from the side vents. It's got a bead rolled down the center of the top of it. The theme goes down the hood, across the top, and it's also across the top of the breather. And then the same feature is followed inside on the roof, underneath it under there. It's lime gold. It's a house of colors. It's got a silver base under it. I run it about 80 miles an hour with the air on, the radio turned up, Beach Boys or something, and let her rip.
Next, another Chevy counterpart.
It's Chevrolet in 1949 started building what they called the Tin Woody. And it was had the wood grain look, but it's actually metal. And I'm not exactly sure what they did. I think they had some kind of a vinyl or something that was on them from the factory, but this is all airbrushed. Well, we started with just an old station wagon, old tin Woody. It wasn't originally a tin Woody. It had a lot of wood grain inside, a lot of wood inside. We took all that out. The car had been hid in the rear, at one time, and the tailgate was in really bad shape, and we couldn't really tell that till we assembled everything because it come to us basically in parts. We worked on the car roughly 3 years off and on. The owner would occasionally would have to stop us for a little short period of time, and then we'd get back on it. We had painted a truck this color, and the owner really liked that color, and that's the color he wanted. And then basically matched the wood up to go with the color of the car. And that's basically how that come about. Getting everything to fit right. That's always a challenge.
This week's Lokar Lowdown, you know, a lot of times you have stuff that gets you going like the shifters and everything, but we want to make sure our pride and joys are going to stay in place and look good. We've got all of our e-brake handles and floor mounts and cables and everything you need to go with it.
Yeah, we've got a wide variety of different kinds of e-brakes for different applications. We've got your floor mount e-brake, bolts directly to your transmission tunnel. Real nice, small, compact.
And as we noticed, we have our window stuff to go along with everything else that's inside from Lokar.
In addition to the underdash foot brake you just touched on, we've got our transmission mount hand brakes to go right along with our shifter, give you a real nice nostalgic look. And we also offer our under the dash hand brake.
And with floor mount, and lots of different stuff to choose from. And hey, some nice looking cables here too, Jeff.
Well, we offer our brake cables in black and braided stainless steel for most applications. So just give us a call, check our website, our catalog, and we can get you set up with the correct cables for your application.
Some different sizes on here as well?
Yeah, we do the transmission mount e-brake in 11 and 16 inches. So you have, if you're running a 12-inch shifter, you definitely want to run the 11-inch handbrake, not a 16.
Absolutely. If you ever have any questions, the folks at Lokar can always help you out as well. Very knowledgeable, know their products, and great customer service. And all their products made in the USA in Knoxville, Tennessee. Find out more, visit their Facebook page or lokar.com.
That's the end of the Lokar Car Show 4-week run of Tennessee. We'll see you back next season right here.